During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Postal Service was an important lifeline for Americans, delivering medicines, PPE, food, and other household staples. And for many, it still is, and always has been. From the biggest cities to isolated parts of rural America, the Postal Service serves more than 161 million delivery points across the country, going the last mile to deliver, no matter the weather, or how far, or how rural. Want to know the best part? Aside from some minor funding for its charitable work and one-time emergency funding from Congress to cover COVID expenses, the Postal Service receives no taxpayer dollars. With virtually every business and person in the country relying on it, the Postal Service actually generated over $73 billion in revenue in 2020, more than it did in 2019. If it were a private sector company, USPS would be ranked 46th in the 2020 Fortune 500. But the Postal Service is not a private company. It's overseen by Congress. Now, you may have heard that the Postal Service is in financial trouble, but that's where it gets complicated. In 2006, Congress required the Postal Service to set aside billions of dollars each year to fund retiree health benefits, 75 years in advance. A huge expenditure that it cannot pay and still deliver the mail. It's something no other company or government entity is required to do. And it is the single cause of over 90% of the Postal Service's losses since then. Fortunately, the Postal Service Reform Act would free the Postal Service from that punishing requirement. But there is still an unnecessary effort to slow the mail and to make it more expensive for everyone, even as we recover economically from the COVID-19 pandemic. In late August, first-class postage and forever stamps will increase. Rates for most mail-in will rise by 7%. And charities, nonprofits, newspapers, magazines, and catalogs will face a staggering 8.8% postage hike at a time when they can afford it least. It's the second time postage has increased this year, and if we don't do something about it, these hikes will keep happening. Already, the postage hikes and service delays are having a negative effect, and if left unchecked, they will do more damage to Americans and the Postal Service. Just consider this. A new national survey found that 77% of Americans have little to no awareness of the upcoming postage increases, which will then cause 65% of people to consider shifting communications from USPS. And as delivery times slow, 73% will consider shifting business communications from USPS. USPS needs help, but it also needs to be held accountable. Congress should enact the Postal Service Reform Act, but it should also direct the Postal Regulatory Commission to reconsider its decision to allow these excessive rates. Let's make sure the Postal Service can continue fulfilling its duty to serve. Visit 21stcenturypostal.org to learn more about postal reform and the industries that support and rely on the U.S. Postal Service.